One of the best ways to figure out how others perceive you is to simply ask them. In my Career Management 2.0 course, I talked about the 360-degree survey. The idea is that you ask people what they think about you. It's called 360 degree because it involves asking people in different parts of your life. For example, your bosses, your subordinates or reports, your peers or colleagues, and your customers and prospects. You can also ask other people who you work with, maybe in volunteer capacities, or people who are around you a lot. When you formulate your 360-degree questions, I want you to think about a few things. First, what do you really want to know? One of the more popular, yet simplified sets of questions, ask people something like, if I were a cereal, what kind of cereal would I be? Or if I were a type of dog or car, what kind of dog or car would I be? I don't like those questions. I think the questions and the answers leave too much room for ambiguity. So go back to the first question. What do you really want to know? Here are some ideas that I would ask in a 360. What do you think of me? What do others think of me? Or what do others say about me, perhaps in a professional setting? What am I well known for? These are questions that really get to the heart of you without trying to be cute or tricky. I can understand the cereal and dog and car type questions because some people might be offended with the answers that they get if they're too direct, but I like being clear and helping your audience understand what you're really asking. Make it easy for people to answer the question. I think the easiest way to do a 360 degree is to simply email your network and say, will you please respond to this email with answers to the questions that I have below? One of the biggest problems with that is that the responses aren't anonymous. And if they're not anonymous, you might only get positive feedback, or you might not get the real feedback that you really need to get. Typically, what will happen is a group of people will receive the question, and the person who asked about themselves won't see the responses until a certain number of people have responded. That way, your responses should be somewhat anonymous. The hope is, by doing that, your responses should be anonymous. That's not necessarily true, but people are going to feel like they're not being singled out for being honest. That's a problem with asking people over email. You can Google 360-degree surveys to find some services if you don't want to do it by email. Remember, what we're after here is how others perceive us. And while the phrase says perception is reality, we might be out to change the perception if the perception is not what we want it to be. One more thought on the responses. I would like you to think about using the language in their responses in your branding. In the career management course, I talked about a phrase like this. People say I am, and then quote what people have said. Instead of saying I'm a great programmer or I'm the best programmer, if you say people say I am a great programmer or I am the best programmer, there seems to be more credibility with that statement. When somebody else says it, as opposed to you bragging about yourself, it seems more believable.